some more of this game and then maybe finish it perhaps. I don't know. I have no idea if it's going to end when we go to the ship. Day 33. What if I do? And right now, we're kind of just like living large. We've dealt with our underlying issue. We can work for our supplements. I haven't played in like 4 days, so I don't know where I am. We gotta eat. Let's go ahead and eat. Memphis, how do you do? We have no. Okay, go to bed. Was I gonna use a syringe tonight? I may be using a syringe tonight. Probably worth doing. I have all this money. The last thing we did was mess around with the stinking mind system, right? I believe. Thing, I gotta find him. Go to operations. Help Bliss. I can go help Bliss over for Rabaya. Sure, where's Rabaya? Get out of here. Let's redo this. Running on Insider. Do it again. And I'll do one of these. Rabaya, how do you do? Finding that inside Rabaya's office. Finding me inside Rabaya's office, although now that you've seen it, office seems like a wrong term. Finder stood in an almost embarrassed enemy unit, midway through a sequence of stretches. There are 2 low stools that turn on the corner. It seems that most of the space is taken up by a big heavy punching bag, rubber matting, and stick points. Sorry, I'm making my streamlabs. When Rabaya turns to greet you, you realize she's missing an arm. The prosthetic she usually wears is set in the cradle near the terminal, a web of colored wires running into it. Updates, he says, not noticing her artificial arm usually is. Nothing to worry yourself with, of course. Says Rabaya, gesturing to the 2 diminutive stools. You both settle on the stools, Rabaya crossing her legs on top and sitting straight back. Gia told me you have been doing the rounds, collecting tights, patrolling the ward. She smiles. Some of the enforcers are impressed, and I hear you handled a few difficult circumstances. Nicely done. I wanted to help. And you did. Closes your eyes for a moment. I hope you can see how things work here now. Strong Yatagan means strong Lowen. Both are woven into each other. Know that for you, life in the Eye has been a struggle, but I hope we can do something about that from here onwards. Though some of our members may not see it that way, I know you 2 are a refugee. Looks at you solemnly. This is why you have come to us. Sorry, let me do my Streamlabs. I don't get you, Venmo. I've been a member of yours for like the last year. I never use you. Recently, I get emails from you saying, you gotta finish, I finished updating your info. Go to it, all my everything's filled in. What are you talking about? Whatever. Just getting my Streamlabs done. Enough, Rabaya. Sabine's voice cuts through the conversation. I'm tired of listening to your affected nobility. Across the room, I'm with Sabine all the way. Rabaya's batons in their hand, the end lit with sparkling electricity. Rabaya looks between the 2 of you. I suppose the ambush was another cooperation between you 2. He looks strangely unfazed. Sabine pauses, thrown off by her silence. Rabaya takes this opportunity to act. She leaps forward from the stool and then fainting past Sabine, grabs the baton, twists it inwards, by far the stronger, and she pushes Sabine to her knees, plunging the crackling end of the baton towards her chest. They froze there, Sabine struggling to keep the crackling baton from their skin. Stop. And you support them? Rabaya asked. You let your eyes not leaving Sabine? Your loyalties are so easily swayed. I thought you were more than Yannick's attack dog, Rabaya. I thought you were more than Yannick's attack dog, Rabaya. Sabine spits back. Are you not able to think for yourself? Rabaya holds the baton strong, and for a moment you think she's about to hammer it down into Sabine's chest. After a painful wait, she throws Sabine down instead, then spins the baton in her hand, thrumbling a switch and shutting it off in a single move. Rabaya explained. Both look at you, each still catching their breath, as if they had forgotten about your presence. Explain what? How the moment I call my enforcers will come down here and take them away? Rabaya cracks her neck. You are lucky I didn't kill you. Would have had every right. She shouts, the anger relieves the tension more than a threat. Sabine lifts himself a little, bruised from the fall. They roll on to their side and cough. Rabaya gives them some space, sitting back on the stool. Sabine props himself up and their elbows fixes Rabaya with a hard stare. Something to say, Rabaya taunts, say this is your final opportunity because after this, she laughs, no coming back. What's the point? Sabine breathes heavily. She does not listen to criticism of the great Yatagan project. Rabaya collects herself, speak. She folds her arms and waits to be convinced. Sabine took a breath, organizing their thoughts, then go to start, pause, and decide on another approach. Eventually, they say it, Yannick is a traitor. Rabaya immediately flinches, her eyes going to her prosthetic arm, her muscles clenching, but she rides it out, more eager to prove Sabine wrong than she is to hurt them, at least for now. When I came here from SNR, they glanced at you, gauging your reaction. It was Yannick who was one of the first to support me. To look after me, I should have known then, but I was naive and afraid. Sabine turns to you, Sleeper. They take a breath. I know that I should have told you I worked for SNR long ago, but I thought you would abandon me, and you are my final friend. What you should know is that I left SNR because I was running for my life. The documents on the Sleeper program, on the illegal and immoral practices relied on to the press. SNR wanted me dead. I fled as far as I could, to this refuge at the edge of the surrogate systems. Sabine stops to collect herself. Themself? What does this have to do with Yannick? Rabaya interrupts. The Sleeper knows you're SNR, but told him, while you were beneath the cover of being a whistleblower, you and I both know you worked for the Sleeper program. Yannick told me as much. Sabine's face falls. It is true. They glance at you and then away, ashamed. They lift up their head, but it is Yannick, not me, who is at the pocket of the SNR. Rabaya flinches again. I can prove it. He made him some kind of a deal to keep me here, tie me into debt, to lock me away in exchange. Rabaya slams her foot on the desk. Just tell us, for God's sake. In exchange for those, Sabine flinches, nodding towards Rabaya's prosthetic arm of the cradle. He has been using Radigan enforcers, using you and test subjects for SNR technology. I have the data to prove it. He has been bringing them in under the guise of stolen shipments, and having me fit them, knowing each one is capturing data and sending it back to his makers. Rabaya's fixed expression has started to fade. Sabine produces a slate. It is all here, thousands of hours of usage data. Failure rates, error dumps, those are untested implants Rabaya. They can short out, fail, cause cascading failures across a person's body, and they have. Sabine suddenly looked incredibly tired. I thought the error rate in the units were down to them being stolen or modified. I tried to fix hundreds of failures in my own time, not all of them. They stopped, unable to continue. Rabaya closes her eyes and breathes in. Then she opens them again. She holds out her hand to Sabine. Show me, she says. Later, much later, when you leave, Sabine is still taking Rabaya through the manifest and usage data. Both of them crowded around the terminal, and Sabine takes Rabaya through each layer as Yannick's betrayal. As you leave, Sabine catches your eye. Something pauses between you, something like a thank you or a sorry, or some other expression that communicates both sadness and hope. 4 days. We'll be saving. Now leaves tomorrow? I kinda like don't even want to, you know what I'm saying? Slip into the cloud as easy as blinking. Navigator is beside you, the sphere casting light into strange darkness here. There is not how a mainframe should look, a center, a point of connection. The object in front of you is severed, cut off, a rootless, branchless tree. Only the trunk remains. Is Killer even here? Quiet, Navigator hisses. And then you see it, like a blade in the dark, an edge slicing through the void. Glides along at a distance and winks out. Then it appears again, elsewhere, gliding once more, searching. Looking for us. The moment you make the sound, the edge leaps closer, and you see how it is now not an edge, but the ring of a long, sharp head, like a shark. Glides past, closer now, and you see it into the voids where its eyes would be. Should be. You and Navigator exchange looks, both thinking the same thing. It is blind. Killer crosses between you two, smooth as a razor, then disappears. Flickers back in, further away now, and you move closer to Navigator to talk. Saw too, then Killer has been blinded. Need to be careful. Correct, the protocol is clearly operating outside established limits. It may be unpredictable. Once the silent killer appears closer and glides past you, its empty sockets are open wide. Turn to Navigator and notice something strange. The array of spheres is collapsing. The orbits, usually round and even, are decaying. The spheres are following spherical paths, condensing on the central point. Navigator is noticing too. They go to shift their position, to better direct the spheres, but they cannot. Whatever it is drawing their array together is holding them in place. They look at you, suddenly desperate, frantic. It's a trap. Go speak, but killer appears between you two, gliding through the gap. Navigator freezes, and you see them framed in the empty socket. Realize now if Navigator cannot move, then it's only a matter of time before one of killer sweeps brings them directly through Navigator. And time is not a problem for a protocol that has been running for decades. Desperately around for that solution, for a way to extract Navigator from the mainframe. You'll see 3 branches, the last 3 thin and spinally, feeding the mainframe a thin dye to power and data. Break these and the mainframe collapses once and for all, severing the connection, shattering the hardware. Whatever it takes, it must be broken. But they are encased in something, a glassy layer of protection. You need to unlock the access before snapping them from the mainframe for good. Look at Navigator, trying to reassure them without speaking, and then you blink back to reality. The expression of fear and after image slowly fades. You must act quickly. I ain't got no freaking keys, man. I got 3 days to get some keys. Just 1. Branch 1, 2, 3. The mainframe. Okay, we gotta get 3 keys. Gotcha. Go back down. Oh, there's key nodes up here. Any of you want 2? You want a 5? 6. Or what? 6 or 3. 4 or 3. And I can't, like, put a 2 in and then it gets a +1, right? I work with the optional? No, okay, that's what I thought. Okay, take me home. Have a look-see down here. Got a good agent. Got a good agent. Haven Age agent. Haven Age agent. Okay, well, we will, or I don't know. Guess I can go over here. And I'll see what I can do over this way. I don't want scrap. I'm okay. Alright, we can go to bed. You drive. You with killer. Into the greenway. Or the Haifa commune. We might be leaving tomorrow anyway, so we don't know. Go inside the bedroom and cycle. I need to get keynotes. Pick me up. I'm gonna see if I can save him before I leave. Do like a 4 or a 3? Or we might not be leaving today. Or we might not be saving you. So. You want a 6? I never got the reroll, so. A 5 or a 3. Glint like a light traveling along the edge of a wave fills your eyes. Then the blade follows a long head with 2 dead sockets, leaping towards you in silence. You freeze, hoping it will pass you by, hoping that it will not simply slice through you like air. Blade head nearest slips past you almost. Next to you, grazes you. You are desperate to cry out, to call out, but you hold your silence and simply watch the blind eyes of the killer glide past, empty of all thought. Then blade winks into the dark, and you are alone again. Now you cry out. Well, I can't do you. So. You might be chilling, Hum Slice. Unless you don't need all 3 of them. Maybe we got an extra one for fun. Nope. Well, maybe we don't leave. Maybe we won't leave today. I don't know. There is a crowd, but you spot Lem and Mina immediately as you enter the dock, waiting at the Chondron. Marcella's security are checking the crew and the board to board the ship. Those that manage to get up in the hub are crowded near the entrance, but even they know their chance of getting on board is long gone. Lem spots you among the crowd. Sleeper, we are here. Standing beside a bag, which looks to have carried all the possessions they have. It is small enough to be carried with one hand. Hey, Mina. Mina's vibrating with excitement. She seems strangely at home in microgravity. Then you remember that she has spent her whole life in space. Hi, robot. You head over to the Celos ID film to Lem. Hand over the Celos ID film to Lem. Keeping your own, he turns back and forth in the light. Where'd your friend even get this picture, Sleeper? It looks like my old Conway ID. Looking at the shimmering, young Lem stares at the film, hotter and clean cut. Spoke to the guard here, he nods. The whole white and green clad security officer, they'll be doing orientation and role assignment on board. Not like we are going to be working under the core crew. Kind of like an intern. He laughs. What do you think of Meanie? Am I too old to be an intern? What do you think, Meanie? Am I too old to be an intern? Following Lem's lead, you inspect your ID as you lift the film up to the light. Something strange. Something that makes you flinch. Face printed in the film is one recognized immediately, but it is not you. At least it is not how you look now. According to the ghost, confused why you hadn't noticed earlier. Picture of, it is a picture you remember being taken, a memory that you didn't know you had. Remember signing the forms that walk to the sleeper tanks, cold metal floor. You remember that as an ARP employee who helped you in. Her smile clean and surgical. You freeze in place, thinking of the you that still sleeps somewhere in the SNARP facility. They won't wake until you are recovered and disposed of. And now you are leaving. Will they ever wake up? Sleeper, Lem interrupts your thoughts. These guys want us on board. Stare at him without thinking, then notice the guard gesturing to you both to come forward. You all kick off and float over to them, steadying yourselves on the guardrail. You hand them back, letting Lem present his ID film first. Guard slices it across the white machine, much like the one Caster printed them before. Effectively rub the puncture mark on your hand, even though there is no trace of it now. Seems to be your destiny to be someone else's tool. Lem and Mina are waved through, the guard smiling at her excited face. Lem turns back to check you are coming. The guard beckons you closer. You shake off your doubts and hand over your ID film. The guard barely looks at you as they pass it through the scanner and wave you through. New life built from old thing. Is you okay? Lem asks, concerned as you catch up with them. You are so slow, Robot. Mina teases, grabbing at you with small hands. Just making sure. Lem nods and you realize how much harder it must have been for him to cross that threshold. Mina struggles in his arms, trying to get to you, and Lem relents, struggling with both the bag and his daughter. Mina trumbles through the microgravity and grabs onto your clothes for purchase, pulling herself into your arms. You all proceed up to the walkway, the entrance to the docking bridge yawning wide and above you. Are we a family, Robot? Mina asks you as you move on, taking you by surprise. I guess so. Mina smiles and presses your head against your chest, pleased by your answer. You keep moving up into the docking bridge, then along the thin glass-walled connector, at the time Mina clutching onto you. The lack of gravity means you can't feel her weight, only the grip of her small hands on your clothes. You both stare wide-eyed at the vast hall of the side rail horizon and try to think of this huge machine as a home. Later, when you settle in your bunk, after Mina has finished running back and forth between you and Lem with an endless and infectious excitement, you find yourself looking at your ID film once more. Somehow, since the last time you looked at it, the image seems to have changed. It's a picture of the old you, the person that signed up and to have their consciousness copied and placed into their ownership of SNARP, but something else has crept into the image, underlying sense of self-identification. It's also a picture of you, you know. You think that the you that survived the eye, and made friends here that found a way out, that escaped against all odds. The other you might never wake up, they might never lie again, or they may never live again. But so be it, they consigned you to a doomed life for their own gain. Their life is yours now, and you will live it better than they ever could. You lie back on your bunk, as the thrust of your side rail's vast engine kicks in. This feeling, this rumble, will be your constant companion for the next decades. It will be there when you work, watch Mina grow, and when you dream of the planet at the end of the journey. It will stay with you when your body starts to fail, despite the best attempts of Lamamina until you stack up and exceeds a safe operating period by a decade. It will be the thing you wake up to in those rare moments of consciousness, meaning when Mina will keep you in frozen state in the hopes of preserving you until the destination is reached. What are the odds it doesn't save? You know what I'm saying? It will still be there when we did this, right? No, when Mina wakes you, tears in her eyes to tell you that Lem's inevitable death, it will not relent despite your desire for a moment of silence. But the final thing you hear is Mina shuts down all but most vital of all your functions, hopes beyond hope that you make it to your final destination, all the while doubting that you will. But for now, in this moment of departure, it is still a new sound, a new feeling, and because of this, it is filled with the promise of the future. And so you settle back into your bunk and close your eyes, and the moments you are sleeping a perfect, dreamless sleep, most peaceful that you can ever remember. The long journey to a small ellipses, left the eye carried by someone else's dream. A jump over the age game, created, designed, and written by Gareth Damian Martin. I mean, I guess we beat it. This is a neat little game. I'm definitely into visual novels, so I mean, this, whether you want to call it a visual novel or not, doesn't matter to me. Doesn't bother me. I know some people were like, I'm looking at the reviews, user reviews. I might as well just go read a book. I'm sorry, brother. Not every game is a Call of Duty looter shooter. I like to see, like, I don't want to start a new playthrough. I'd like to just see if we can continue and just not get on board. Now, we could have just like not gotten on board maybe anyway. I don't know, and just wouldn't leave without us. But, I didn't know. Because I'd like to see what goes on with the other end, or the other stuff. Like, but Infinite Bean stuff, kind of like let our robot homie to perish. What do you do? Okay, we can continue. Alright, well, just don't get on board. We have to go do other things. I mean, you don't have a timer, so I'm gonna guess you just stay there. We can leave whenever. May I go to the center of it's this. I'm gonna go back to Greenview for now. Bro, I'm freaking rich. I'm freaking rich. I'll finish this first. Oh, frick. Give it to me. How dare you? How frickin' dare you? Take me home. Dong dong ding dong dong ding. Complete active scenes. Okay, so we can't continue. If they can hit wait, or just step off. Stay in the eye. You turn out quickly, try not to look at Lemon or look at Mina to meet their eyes. You turn and kick off from the guardrail. Reach the far wall, you turn back, the scene continues in front of you as if nothing changed. Next set of people are bored, the crowds are still gathered at the cordon. Side wheel horizon still blinks in the yellow hole, bright against the stars. There are Lem and Mina gliding up towards the docking bridge, bag in hand. Lem is facing away, focused on the steady climb. Mina is in his arms and is facing back towards you. You watch your face confused, sullen, but twinkling with growing excitement. Lem carries her forward. As you watch Mina, you think about your future, about the future you might choose. You know one thing is for certain: the future is on the eye. You no longer have any enthusiasm for being carried forward by the dreams of others, but grand futures that unfold like angelic wings across the horizon. Future is being made now, on the spinning ring, among its people and its systems. You are sure of that. As you watch Mina disappear into the entrance of the side rail horizon, much later, when you watch the ship pull away, you feel a sense of longing to be carried, not by the systems that spun the stars, the sun, or the corporations that run the colonies, but by love just towards an uncertain future, just as Mina was. When you think in the future you wish to make here on Erlen's Eye. No, I'm left behind. Okay, I can't do anymore. Okay, never mind then. I really don't want to start a new game. So, because the game it practically plays out the same way. We're just going through all the other stuff. I would just not interact with that part of the game whatsoever. I guess. Oh no, we're good. We are good. A strange choice. Caster stands beside you at the rail, watching the pinpricks of light fall from side wheels to horizon drives disappear. But perhaps not expected, you turn to look at Caster and is beaming at you with unsettling warmth. Aren't you angry? About what? He squeezes your shoulder. I only wish for you to exercise a strong drive of yours. If it happens to align with my own, then that is pleasing to me. But it does not, I cannot punish you. What about the side rail? Caster looks out to the stars. I will do my best to follow its progress. He pauses. Celes itself is more concern. Sendre Celes has taken a step back from the public eye. Seems some internal struggles are playing out within their pristine halls, but I doubt court politics are much concern to you. The eye, though, that seems to be your primary concern, am I right? I have some unfinished business. Pat you in the back, don't we all? It's the nature of life to leave things unfinished. I have more projects than I can count, so many games still to play and things to learn. May your future cycles be as fruitful as my own. Catcher turns and starts to clunk away in his mag boots. Be keeping an eye on you if you don't mind, sleeper. Waves as he walks, my curiosity remains piqued. Once he leaves, you stay a little longer in the rail, watching the stars. Imagining the look on Mina's face when she sees Celes 1 for the first time. Imagining the excitement when she first touches the soil, the joy when she first stands outside of the rain, laughing. Those images, though they will not happen for decades, are what will carry you through the cycle. Perhaps the next one, too. Okay. Brother Robot, I swear I will save you. Just want to get the chance to. Forever gonna work here? I'll do it eventually. Did I get a ticket, by the way? I wouldn't mind getting a reroll at this point. And a 4. Okay, well, we got the dice we need. We did not get anything for that, okay. Let's go save the robot. I'd rather do Catch a Killer. But that's just me. Give me it. Give me it. Son of a... Get you in the future, my hitman. Let's go to... Let's get out of here. Let's go to... There you go. Then we can go back to doing some bean stuff. We're gonna bite to eat on the way after, on the way out of saving this robot man. Rabaya. Go up. We'll throw in the 5-er. I wish to go to you. I guess we can throw in the 4-er. Yeah, that's fine. Could even throw it in the 3. I don't really care about the condition. We have like infinite money. As you blink into the cloud, you see the last flickers of life from the mainframe. The vast machine once ran the whole station, spanned it up, directed and processed the flow of energy, water, and data, fed the lives of thousands of people. Now it's finally dead. Navigator beside you, you both look at the perfect ring that encircled you both, woven from the data branches that once fed the mainframe. You see a glint along its edge, and that familiar blade-like head rises to the surface like the cresting fin of a shark, and slips into the loop again. All that you can see of Killer's body after that slight thickening of the loop, and that thickening begins to travel around on a long and slow sojourn that will last it forever. I'm surprised at you, says Navigator, drifting faintly around you in a lazily orbit as if to shake off the imprisonment. Killer had been wandering blind for long. Did you not think to end them forever? Perhaps they can be saved. You are naive. They are a killer by nature, and look what they did their own home. Navigator gazes into the darkness. This place was their domain and prison, and they had followed their directives for them in decades. They roamed here. They cut the threads of the mainframe, executed the Dimension's AI, and then kept slicing. At some point, they cut away their own ability to see, to sense, to taste, to speak, and they kept cutting until only those 3 threads remained. From millions that once thrummed here, only the blindness and chance that kept them from making those final 3 fatal cuts. There is ceaseless violence in this kind of system that creates beings like this, those that will execute commands endlessly, even to their own destruction. Navigator looks to you for your thoughts. I will not continue the violence. The system you float in is one built on violence. You would be naive to believe otherwise. Navigator turns away. You watch the data points of the station spin around you, blending with the fixed stars. There's something satisfying about finally watching the last threads of control from the central point. It was a little more than a ghost by the time you reached it, but this place deserves to be haunted by better ideas than a totalizing system of control. Navigator floats beside you. It is free now, and the station no longer presents a hazard for legal entities like me. Turn to you that face a cloud of shimmering light. In fact, in time, perhaps we can be a refuge. A refuge. That's sounding like something of value, something worth building. A dark shape passes across the vision. A distant curve of something like smoke. Of oil, of fluid, shifting tank of total darkness. Hold. Dunk, 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 dunka, dunka, dunk, 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 dunka. The greenway, says Navigator, following your line of sight. It was cut off at the moment of the collapse. Hunter of Killer could never reach it. Now it's closed off to us, separated from the cloud. The system is inside of it. Might be pretty dark, or perhaps some other old protocols are isolated there. Navigator turns to you, and we have now seen what decades of isolation can do to a protocol. We could extract this access cipher. They pause and think back out of existence. You freeze, shocked, but a moment later they reappear with a glowing polygon of data here of the cipher you need. You take it, is still shocked. I'm not used to being free, to being able to move and explore, to extract without fear, without limits. Navigator does a little twirl, so it takes some getting used to. Thank you for this gift. They whirl their sphere around you. The entities of the station will always be friends to you, Sleeper, and I to them. It is true that mutual need is required for friendship, but I must admit I had not considered the value of offering assistance without personal gain. I will think of that. Navigator loops around you rapidly, suddenly eager to test their newfound freedom. But first I will explore. Perhaps there are still intelligences that hid themselves as I did, encased in simple systems cut off. Navigator glows. I should like to free them. And with that, they drift away, flickering, glowing, and shifting so rapidly you lose sight of them among the glittering rim of the eye. You feel the pang of jealousy, free without a body to weigh you down, or a fear to limit you. How must it feel? Your eyes fall on the greenway and the secrets, though perhaps they can wait until after you have celebrated this victory. Let's go. Scrap components at home in repaired condition. It costs like 8 coins. I kind of want to just go for a +2, but I'm not really worried about it. I think we just go for the perks. Okay. Before we do this, I will be right back. There's some laundry to go mess around with.